the fact that a lot of polyester is used in multifamily, which turns faster than nylon, it seems like awfully quickly the polyester problem developed in this country.
Absolutely, that is part of the issue, is that it is being picked up as a use, as a fiber of choice, if you will, to manufacture the carpet, but then it does tend to go into the apartments and big building operations, which means it comes up off the floor. Apartment houses turn almost every year and a half. So that's part of it, but also the fact that it was, there isn't really a good use for it after it's been recycled. There isn't a big market yet because nobody was really separating it. Again, that's what we hope this Ringgold operation will do for us, is will create a marketable fiber that people can use.
Mm-hmm. What about just waste to energy as an interim solution for polyester? Is that a workable possibility?
Absolutely. We have actually a couple different devices that use carpet, either post-industrial, which is our factory waste. We have a unit for that, but we also have a unit that is burning polyester carpet coming back from our customers. So it is a viable use, but the old reduce, reuse, recycle, compost, incinerate. Incinerate is probably the last thing that you really want to do. So we try to move it up in that continuum and into recycling whenever we can.
But it's also not a bad place to start, and I guess it does set up the collection apparatus where it wouldn't before.
Well, and that's where I say that every time you try something, you learn. And I think creating the network for Evergreen Augusta and then the post-consumer incineration that we're doing here has allowed us to work with our collector network so that it helps set that up, and so we learned about how to get the carpet back to a central location, which helped us then get ready for Ringgold. So it's kind of that continuous learning model will be there for some time here.
Now I imagine these collectors have to really love you. I'm sure they've got more than enough polyester on hand.
Well, they're hoping we could take it all, but unfortunately we will have to ramp Ringgold up, and it'll take some time, but we do hope that we'll be part of that solution.
Talk about the capacity, the differences in capacity between the Augusta and the Ringgold plant.
Well, when we look at our total collection last year, it was right around 100 million pounds. When Ringgold comes to full capacity, we expect it to be right at about that same level, both being used as through the Ringgold process as well as the post-consumer content burning and incineration of it. So we hope that the net result will be minimal impact to our collector network.
I see. We talked about the collectors network out there, collecting and processing. How would you describe the overall health? That the PET problem has caused a great problem, I understand, in that part of the business.
Right, and it is like any industry, there are always ebbs and flows. And right now, I just spent a day and a half with the CARE board, which stands for Carpet America Recycling Effort. And that is a collection of both mills and collectors. And so we get together and we discuss it. And it is pretty tough times out there for those collectors in that they don't have a good home for a lot of polyester. But besides that, even the selling of the recycling of the nylon is getting tough because of that price of crude.
Oh, interesting, interesting. So, well, I guess the CARE organization and the manufacturers are assisting in that effort.
It's a very good organization because we work collectively to understand each other's issues and problems, and it's a great organization, and we hope that by working together we can come up with new and innovative solutions. I keep using that term innovation, but I think that is a hallmark of sustainability for whether it be a company or even an industry like the carpet industry.
Well, the whole CARE organization is innovation. Started out, there was no industry.
Exactly
and they
right.
Sort of, produced one, really.
And it really speaks well for the whole industry that we can work together on a collective problem like this.
The percentage, now I'm asking about nylon specifically here, the percentage of nylon that ends up as caprolactam in Ringgold versus in Augusta. Can you talk about that?
Sure. It really isn't comparing apples and apples here, because Ringgold does not produce caprolactam. Again, that was the chemical process of Augusta created caprolactam, and this is creating an engineered resin pellet.
Okay. So explain the difference then.
The engineered pellet will be something that somebody can heat up and melt and create a product from it. Caprolactam,
Not carpet.
not carpet at this point. It is. We will continue to explore that, but we are not carpet in Ringgold. Where caprolactam was the precursor to nylon, which then allowed the manufacture of new nylon polymer, and so it was then injected back into a fiber.
Okay. How about the applications for the product that you produce in Ringgold? Is that increasing? Are there more and more possibilities out there?
Well, look around us. There are thousands of things that are made out of plastic, and so they are always looking for plastic to be used, and when they can get post-consumer content, just like our markets, our customers tend to like that. That, you know, in the old days, recycled content always meant nasty, dirty, not as high quality.
Yeah.
Not anymore. People really recognize that recycled content can be just as good and viable as a virgin material.
Are there people out knocking on doors saying, hey, you want to try this in your operation? I imagine there are.
Oh, we are. That's why I say we will find the applications.
The Shaw organization
Yes, absolutely.
is doing that. So is that, I mean, I know that the automotive industry uses some, as you mentioned, and I think under the hood there's lots of recycled nylon. They seem to have been ahead of the game, it appears to me, in my uneducated observation.
You know, I come from another industry as well, office furniture, and I think we all entered into that genre of 1990s where we started saying recycled content's good, and chairs were made from recycled content. Automobiles started using it. Carpet, really going back that far, have been using recycled content. Just haven't talked about it maybe as much. But absolutely, I always respected the carpet industry for what they were doing and putting back carpet into other alternative plastics.
Mm-hmm. What do you see long-term in the Ringgold facility? I mean, innovation. Basically, it's an innovation story, and I suspect that 5 years, 6, 8 years from now, you'll be doing something perhaps quite a good deal different.
I would say that that's probably the one thing I can say with my crystal ball is that we will probably learn and modify and change, but in by and large, I think the Ringgold operation will teach us many things, and it might be just how to make it even more effective and efficient. And maybe a second unit there, who knows? We could, this equipment, as our news release talked about, is scalable, which means we believe we can not only put another one in Ringgold, maybe one here in Dalton, maybe one in Shanghai. I mean, it is capable of being scaled to multiple locations where Evergreen Augusta was not.
Interesting, interesting. So the technology in Augusta had, past its prime now, I guess.
I have used the analogy that when I had a 1995 Toyota Avalon with 250,000 miles, when the alternator went out, it did not pay to replace it. There was a little bit of that with Augusta. Unfortunately, it got old and needed major repairs, was failing at times when we weren't expecting it and going down, so it just was time to make the decision that we wanted to invest in new technology.
I see. And that technology wasn't something that you wanted to invest in at this point. It didn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah, because it was only one polymer type, we really felt that the market has changed and we needed to take care of all three polymers.
I see. Let me ask you another basic question about sustainability. As you mentioned, the three pillars of sustainability, and one is economic. And sustainability across the board, if it isn't productive from an economic standpoint at some point in time, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if people understand that.
Well, you know, sustainability, there are times that people will ask that question, well, you have to make money? And absolutely, you're not going to be very sustainable if your buildings are empty. You have to stay in business, you have to be profitable. And so that's where we always try to balance that, though, with the other things. And there are times that you will do things that aren't necessarily cost efficient, but will become cost efficient. Ringgold is an example. When we first start out, we can't ramp up to 100 miles per hour, 4 shifts, 24/7 operation. We've got to make sure that we get the bugs out before we start ramping it up. Those ramp up years or ramp up months will not be necessarily making profit until we get to that point.
Right.
That's where we always try to look at your thing and your operation or your materials, whatever you're looking at for that future focus, to make sure that long term you're going to be financially in good shape, but you're also taking care of the environment while taking care of the people.